Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people be not afraid? If there's calamity in a city, shall not YAHUAH have done it? Therefore take heed how you hear. And YAHUAH said to me, proclaim these words in the cities, saying, hear the words of this covenant and do them. That is to put them into application. For YAHUAH has named you a green olive tree, beautiful of good fruit. Shabbat Shalom, Mishpocha. Welcome to another Restoration of All Things message, defining set apart as Kadesh in the order of MalkiTzedek. This is Ephesians 2:19 Ministries. No more strangers or foreigners, but fellow citizens of the Kodeshim and family members of the household of Elohim, preparing the way for the soon return of HaMashiach in Ruach, power, and in truth, as the one new man, the two sticks made one in his hand. Yahushua is teaching us to be set apart as Kadesh in order to elevate us to Kohanim for his coming kingdom in the Melchizedek order. Therefore, our conduct, our walk, our thoughts, and our status in the kingdom should be according to that standard level and live a lifestyle of dignity of a Kohen, going beyond and above daily. This channel is dedicated to those who will go wherever Messiah will send them, who walk in the spirit and in truth, who thirst for the living waters, and who desire to have a new name written on a white stone. To be set apart or not to be set apart? That is the question. What is the mystery of YAHUAH's will? What are the characteristics expected of each one of us? What is the definition of set apart as Kadesh to you? Today you will have clarity. What is Yahushua's expectation for you and me in his kingdom? How does this Kohanim ministerial week cycle of Shabbat relate to this message? What is our belief called? Who is the messenger of the covenant? All of these details we will see in this ministerial Shabbat week of Emer. Many are called, but few are chosen based on unmerited favor for their labor in the vineyard. But less are untrustworthy to receive equity. This message is dedicated to the least and to the greatest in the kingdom of the royal priesthood in the Melchizedek order, and for those who are coming into the way of YAHUAH and who are striving to be set apart as Kadesh. Notice the defiant are not part of this chapter and are irrelevant. Their inheritance is Sheol, aka hell, because they chose to love the lie and reject the love of the truth. Therefore, they were not set apart as Kadesh in the sight of YAHUAH's presence. To fully understand this week's Shabbat's message, you must know that today's definitions of biblical words have been watered down to blend with the world, and therefore not the standard of Abba YAHUAH that we must meet. In other words, most of us are missing the mark in ignorance or are in cycle of sin and repent. In this chapter, we will receive clarity from the scriptures on what Yahushua expects each person once we make a confession of belief to accept and follow him. Last week, we learned that when we die, if we are to receive eternal life, we must have two things. One is the Ruach of truth, and two is no indwelling sin at the time of death or the time of Yahushua's coming. Otherwise, hell would be your eternal destination. A huge stumbling block is scriptural definitions without 2 or 3 witnesses. Why is this important? It is important because YAHUAH will judge us according to his definitions. Therefore, we must know these definitions from scripture and not what man teaches. For those who have not watched part 1, let's take a peek to refresh our minds on what Joe experienced in hell. Down to hell. Joe is his name, and he says instantly, when we go down there, when we die, we receive all knowledge that is not privy to us on this realm of this earth. Questions stop at death. He says you will know this to be absolutely true, and every question you ever had will be answered.
Am I dead? Am I in hell? And I couldn't, that's all that was boggling over my mind. Like, oh my God, I think I died. What happened? How did I get here? What am I doing here? Was the next question. It was like, what am I doing here? How did I get here? Did I die? What's going on? What's going on? There's no interaction amongst us. Nobody's interacting with anybody. Immediately the fear that was there. It was like it was controlling the environment. You know, it was like at that moment I had nothing but questions. I was trying to figure out where I was. Why am I here? Wow. First of all, why the appearance and the setting was so scary in itself that I'm trying to figure out what is this? What's going on? Am I in a dream? Like, what's going on? What's happening? I thought that I'm a Christian. Like, what am I doing here? I'm a Christian. I didn't understand. Why would I be here if I'm a Christian? What am I doing here if I'm a Christian? What is this my judgment? Is this where I'm supposed to be? You're able to still feel exactly the fear that you felt and still have a bunch of this knowledge about where you are and why. Because the funny thing is, I asked myself, I said, am I in hell? Even though even in my own knowledge, I knew I was in hell. But I don't know why I'm even still asking myself, why am I in hell? Why am I here? But I knew I was in hell. I had the knowledge that I was in hell. I had the knowledge that everyone here is in hell. Everybody here is in hell. Or you've always had a feeling, maybe you've even had his presence with you before, or you're even more of an active believer. You know, you've had an ongoing relationship with him throughout your entire life. Maybe you grew up in a church, whatever it is. If you do not have the Spirit of the Lord in you, free from indwelling sin, you hear what I said, free from indwelling sin. At the moment that he comes, or the moment that you die, you'll find yourself in hell. And you'll be thinking to yourself that I'm a Christian. You wouldn't even understand. What you doing there? You won't understand. That's too much of Russian roulette for me. That's too much. I'm not looking to come close. I'm not trying to just get in. Because now that I realize there's no such thing. You can't think with your carnal mind. There's no such thing as just now getting in. You're not going to just make it in. There's no such thing. There's no review of the evidence. You're in or you're out. Either his blood is on you. I don't even consider half of what I see here to be real. At all. It's all a facade. It's all a mirage. We're all just passing through. And literally, and the majority of us are being deceived. And the devil is deceiving us. And it's all deceptive to make us think that we actually have these abilities and our autonomy can't be taken away. And this stuff can't be taken, that this life is really forever. Listen to me. There's no such thing as YOLO or living for the moment. You're going to have all the time in the world to live for the moment. In terror. For the rest. For eternity. In terror, in fear. You'll be living for the moment. And that's because that moment is all you have. And nothing else will matter. Not one single thing you do here as a form of enjoyment will be even remembered for you to even say that at least you live the life that you live. The only thing that you will have to stake claim to this life is why did I even have a life to end up here in the first place? And that's all. And in that place, all you will know and understand is to be true. There's no debate. People are not debating down there. Nobody's debating. Nobody's trying to figure it out. Nobody's trying to debate amongst each other. Even if you don't believe in him or you're not sure why you chose him, you still don't want to be there. Do you hear what I'm saying? You still don't even want to be there. Hell is real. There's no such thing as coming close as Christians. If you even debate in your mind, if you got to even review your record to figure out whether or not you're going, you're already probably on the wrong side. Because I'm telling you right now, the decision is unanimous. We're not looking for majority vote. There's no board in heaven. There's not a majority vote as to who's going and whether you're going or not. There's no politicking. It's unanimous. Either you have a relationship with him or you don't. I'm not doing this for people to believe me. I'm doing this because I am in fear of my own record. I'm in fear of going and ending up in that place. I'm in fear of answering up to my life and what I'm doing in my life, in every single aspect of it, every part of it, every single aspect of it. I'm in fear. I'm in fear of my own thoughts. I'm in fear, let alone because if it causes me to end up in that place.
What a powerful testimony. Job truly believed that he was not lukewarm at all. The term lukewarm has become subjective in its application to all believers, and people are using their own standards and interpretation in understanding its definition. Satan has diluted many definitions to his standard and causing us to believe that it is YAHUAH's standard to reach. It is a most subtle way that the devil deceives believers to use Yahuwah's favor and compassion as a license to sin and not fear him in their decision in this life. Just because you keep the Shabbat, call on Yahuwah and Yahushua, doesn't mean that you're set apart. Some still have unforgiveness. Some are not truly walking set apart as Kadesh. So this message is for you. This message is to give you clarity and to convict you to examine your belief, your faith, your walk, and your thoughts, and anything that is not of you, to make teshuvah and return to the ancient paths. Many religions, denominations, Torah camps, and Hebrew root movements have taken out Messiah out of the equation. Why? Because of the anti-Messiah spirit that's heavily upon the earth. It is at a high level and gaining momentum. How? Mainly because the externalization of the hierarchy of the fallen angels, operating through demons in people, in pastors, in rabbis, YouTubers, false prophets, and many others. Many have sold out, and we war against principalities, powers, and rulers of darkness of this fallen world. Most of these are Freemasons, Jesuits, Zionists, and the rest operate in a different Ruach, in a different spirit that Yahuwah gives. It is of the most important to define set apart, because within 1 year or less, depending on the digital money, the digital currency implementation, which some say is July 2023, you will have to choose whom you will serve in truth, Yahushua or Lucifer, who is Satan, who is the dragon. Are you prepared? The choice is yours. The head of the UN once said, no one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. No one will enter the New Age unless he will take a Luciferian initiation. He also says that Lucifer comes to give them, not those in Yahushua, the final gift of wholeness. If we accept it, then he is free and we are free. This is the Luciferic initiation. It is one that many people now and in the days ahead will be facing, for it is an initiation of the new age. You see, Yahushua makes you whole. He makes you complete. He is total shalom. But Satan is using this to build his kingdom. Jewish Freemason and commander of the Confederate Army wrote in the Freemasonry manual, Morals and Dogma, he wrote that in the Third World War that the pure doctrine of Lucifer would be unveiled to the common people, meaning that the Torah teachings of Yahuwah are inverted as good. So the 10 commandments that are written in your heart have been turned upside down on its head. Albert Pike continues as he wrote in this letter to Mazzini, the Italian dictator of his time. He said, we, who is we? I'll let you discern, shall unleash savagery and of the most bloody turmoil. Are you prepared, beloved? Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries. They have been trying to get us to fight against each other. They will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose theistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration. They will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out into the public view. Are you prepared? Are you prepared for this, beloved? This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Note, he did not mention Judaism. Brothers and sisters, are you prepared? The leaven of Herod from the house of Edom has risen to power. So brothers and sisters in the Emunah, be patient until the coming of the Master. See, the farmer waits for his precious fruit of the earth. The farmer is Yahushua and the fruit is you and I. Waiting patiently until it receives the early rain or the latter rain. The latter rain is the second coming on Yom Teruah, the Feast of Trumpets. Also, patiently endure with long suffering, physical and spiritual. Establish your hearts firmly to the covenant, for the coming of the Master YAHUAH has drawn near. Do not grumble against each other, brothers, so that you may not be condemned to Sheol. Behold, the judge is standing at the door. Knock, and it shall be opened to you. Yahushua says that if anyone who is set apart hears my voice and opens the door, I shall come into him and dine with him, and he with me. But once the master of the house has risen and shuts the door, he will say to you, I do not know you. Where are you from? The Father's Ruach is also prompting others to speak on this topic of being set apart. Please allow me to show you what I mean.
You see, Satan has told a complete lie that we cannot follow Yah's Torah, and that is why Yah gave us a different covenant. Basically, it said that Yah gave Israel a covenant that they could not live up to, and so because the covenant was too hard, Yah has gotten rid of that covenant and gave everyone a much easier one to deal with. Basically, we can now be in a covenant with Yah and be accepted by him just as long as we believe in the Messiah he sent, and if you try to show your faith by your works, you're teaching a works-based gospel. But there is a strong misunderstanding with that is very hypocritical. Because do you know how Yahushua told us that we show that we love him? He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. That's John chapter 14, verse 15. So there is some confusion here, and it is Satan that has sown it. When we read his word, we see clearly that he has always required of his people to be set apart from the ways of the heathens, who are the other nations. And if we understand this topic further, it's because Satan is the god of this world who has blinded everyone, and he wants to be like the Most High. So when Yah is keeping Israel from intermingling with the other nations, it's a serious thing, because he did not want them whoring after false gods and being influenced by their ways that were so much easier to take on. Because Satan's true doctrine is, do as thou wilt.
Brothers and sisters, Satan has set up his own mark. And that mark is for us to miss the mark of Yahuwah. And that mark that he set up, he made us believe that was the mark of Yahuwah for us to reach. And the whole time he's been working on his game plan according to Isaiah 14, that he would exalt his throne above the stars of Elohim, and that he would be like the Most High. What this brother says is true. However, we will take what it means to be set apart or sanctified to another level of understanding and application, so that Yahushua, the high priest, will declare to you least or great in his coming kingdom. I need you to know that tribulation is likely to start this April 2nd on Pesach, on Passover. With that being said, if you plan to just make it through on your own strength and all the prepping that you have done without Messiah and you walking in spirit and truth, you will not survive. The enemy has all the laws, guillotines, and AI in place for the greatest persecution ever in the history of this earth. Are you prepared, beloved? Are you prepared? Those that are new to this channel, we are not called to be Christians, or Messianic, or Jews. We are, however, called to be set apart as Kadesh in the way of Yahuwah with Messiah and us. Yes, we follow the Christ of the Bible, but not the religion. Set apart as Kadesh. Our ultimate goal is to be a royal priest under Messiah, a Kohanim. Because as Kohanim, we are to walk the narrow way in the order of MalkiTzedek. I want to make this really clear that we are not called to be Christians or Messianics. We're called to be set apart as Kadesh. 1 Kephas 2:9. You are a chosen generation, a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a kingdom of Kohanim, a Kodesh nation from all the nations, a peculiar people. We are called to be peculiar, radical in Messiah, a people of a treasured possession, for this purpose, that you may declare the wondrous deeds of the one who gave you the calling and summoned you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past we were not my people, but now you are the people of Yahuwah. And this was declared to Ephraim in Hosea 2:25. So there's nothing new under the sun. The lost sheep is Ephraim and Judah, dispersed in all the nations of the world. The term set apart is based on works, your labor defined by Torah. And when fulfilled out of love, it classifies us as the least or the great. Defining set apart as Kadesh. Ephesians 1 verse 4. Abba YAHUAH chose us in Him before the foundations of this world, that we should be set apart as Kadesh and blameless without defect before Him in love. YAHUAH is love. Everything is love. The truth is love. And that coincides with 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 13. YAHUAH chose you as the first fruits. He is the farmer, you are the fruit, to be saved for redemption at His second coming. Through sanctification by the Ruach HaKadosh and emunah, belief in the truth. And belief in the Hebraic mindset means to hear and to do. I want to re-emphasize that we are not saved until the very end. You must endure to the end, and the same shall be saved. So we are being saved right now. We are being sanctified, and then we will be saved at His second coming. We will be redeemed. We will be redemption will take full effect then at that moment. We are to seek YAHUAH while He may be found. Call upon Him while He is near, because He will soon shut the door. The door is closing. In Yahushua we have the redemption, the release on payment of ransom. This is the death penalty position that we had when we met Messiah the first time, and we came to Him and made a confession of belief, a confession of faith, trust, and belief. Through the blood atonement of HaMoshiach, for the forgiveness of our sins, according to the riches of His unmerited favor, which He lavished upon us in all chokmah and understanding, having been known to us the mystery of His will, the revelation according to His purpose, which Abba YAHUAH set forth in Messiah. So there is a mystery of His will which will be revealed today. I want to make it clear that Scriptures calls us to be Kadesh, to be set apart and blameless without defect before Him, before His face, in love. We obey Him out of pure love because He loved us first. We don't do it for rewards. We don't do it for a ritual. We do it because He loved us first, and we love Him. And we want to obey Him out of pure love. And this coincides with Leviticus 22 verse 20 in the Torah. Leviticus means by ikra, meaning and He called, and YAHUAH called. And this is what He says in His Torah, in His instructions, in His instruction manual for us. Whatever has a blemish, a defect, a spot, or a blemish, that you shall not offer. In the Melchizedek order, if there's sin dwelling in you and me, we cannot offer living sacrifices to Him that are acceptable, for it shall not be acceptable for you. This is why Messiah Yahushua teaches us that if we have anything against our brother or sister, to take it before Him before sundown, so that He may forgive us, and then come up and offer a living sacrifice. So there's an order to enter into His presence. And we must remember that YAHUAH changes not. What is the mystery of YAHUAH's will? As you continue this message, you will see clearly what it is. The Zadoks were the keepers of YAHUAH's time. The Shabbat Ministerial week of Emer. Emer comes from 1 Chronicles 24 verse 14. It is Strong Concordance H564. In the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, you have a head, a water or teeth, and an aleph. And Yahushua, the Messiah, is the aleph and the tav. So here we have an olive. So we have a head, a ruach, and an aleph. In the order of Melchizedek, YAHUAH is the Kohen Hagadol, the high priest, who gives us the ruach in His name. He inspects all of our works, thoughts, and our walk according to Yahuwah's definitions, and He mediates for us. He is our counselor. He is our attorney in the high court of Shamayim. Ba'ikra means He called, and He called us out of darkness into His marvelous light. And Imer means He said, He is speaking, He declares, or He requires. So YAHUAH has declared from the beginning that no sin is to rule over our mortal bodies. We must rule over sin and halt it from defiling our temple bodies so that He can reveal the mystery of His will to us, so we can be in covenant status with Him. YAHUAH speaks to our spirit man. Melchizedek means a sovereign of righteousness, king of righteousness, Zadok. And we are made Zadok, righteous in Him, if we choose to walk in His light. These are the characteristics Messiah expects in our lives to receive eternal life with Him. Tameen and Yashar. Tameen, to walk in integrity and in truth, without blemish, complete, full, perfect, sincerely, sound, without spot, undefiled, upright, made whole, and blameless. Now let's look at Yashar. Yashar, upright, the just, with equity, and to take the straight way. John chapter 4 verse 23, very, very, very important for today. But the hour is coming and is here now, when the true Kadesh worshippers will reverence the Father in the Ruach HaKodesh and in truth. For indeed, the Father is seeking such people to worship Him. Note, hence, those who worship, and minister to YAHUAH are Yasharel. The root word of Yasharel is upright. So Yasharel is the upright nation of YAHUAH Elohim, which is Messiah, who received the name above all names, YAHUAH. In Ephesians chapter 5 verse 27, it reads that He, Yahushua, as the bridegroom, might present to Himself as a bride the Brit Kadasha Kehilah, the new covenant spiritual house congregation, in all her kavod, tameen, unblemished, without a spot or wrinkle or any such things, that she may be in kedusha, in righteousness, and without blemish. Scriptural definitions and clean words from our lips. We here at Ephesians 2:19, we do not say the Catholic words that have been worshipped as gods, like grace or mercy. But sometimes when I need to get clarity to the new people that are coming in, I do it for teaching purposes only. Sin, according to the new covenant, in 1 John chapter 3 verse 4, is everyone practicing sin also practices lawlessness. And sin is the breaking, the transgressing of the Father's Torah. Now remember, the Torah means instruction, doctrine. We have instructions from Genesis to Revelation. But the first 5 books of Moshe is our foundation of the house that YAHUAH built. And Messiah is the master of that house. He is the son. And Moses was the servant of the house. The same house. Born from above, normally called born again. 1 John 3:9 tells us, whoever is born of YAHUAH does not commit sin. I'm going to repeat that again. Whoever is born of YAHUAH, whoever is truly born of YAHUAH, does not commit sin. Why? Because he has been begotten by YAHUAH through Yahushua, our high priest. Now we're going to look at this word born. G1080. Born means to regenerate the mind, beget or produce anew, to renew the heart by a change of the mindset and character, to change the heart and affections from natural enmity to the love of YAHUAH. Enmity means hate, with utter hatred to the love of YAHUAH. In part 1, we learned that if we love YAHUAH, we keep His commandments. But if we don't obey and keep His commandments, our actions are telling him that we hate him to his face, and he will not delay to destroy us to our face. Yahuwah Elohim is love, and to tell you the truth is love also. Therefore, the mystery of his will involves love. Scriptural definitions. Let us continue on scriptural definitions. Set apart. These are the least, as Kadesh. These are the great in the kingdom. And in part 3, we will learn what this means. But right now, we're just focusing on being set apart. In Mount Sinai, when Yashar was in the wilderness of sin, the men in the camp were jealous of Moses and Aaron. And in the King James, he's called the saint, the Holy One of Yahuwah. The earth opened and swallowed up Dathan. So when you come against Yahushua with jealousy, with a passion and hatred toward his word, his Torah, you're risking the chance of getting swallowed up by the earth. This word is H6918, set apart, Kadosh, from the root word Kadash. Let us go deeper. To be, to pronounce, as clean, holy. So you have to be pronounced, and the one that does the pronouncing is the Messiah of the MalkiTzedek order. He is our high priest. He's the one that inspects every work that we do, whether good or bad. And he's the one that pronounces us as clean or unclean, or defiled or profane. We're dedicated, and we are separated from the world and only witness to sinners. We are purified by gold that we bought from him by fire, and we are sanctified. So you and I are made Kodesh for a set apart purpose and services by Messiah, our high priest, when we meet the high priest qualifications for the job. Yahushua, the Kadosh one of Yashar, is praying to the Abba Yahuwah. Now, when we deal with the Father and the Son, we call them Kadosh. When we deal with us, we're Kodesh. The word Kadosh is only reserved for them. John chapter 17 verse 16. They, Yahushua's Torah students, and us, are not of the world, run by Satan, who has deceived the whole world, even as I am not of the world. O Father Yahuwah, sanctify them through your truth. Your word is truth. Meaning, so he's telling the Father to set them apart for a specific use that is Kodesh through the truth. So what is the truth? This is what differentiates Christianity from denominations to Judaism to Messianics, because they do not follow the definitions of the Father. So when someone is telling you, are you in the truth? Has the Father revealed truth to you? We're talking about Psalms 119, 142. Your Torah is the truth. And Psalms 119, 151 says, all your commandments are truth. The commandments in the Torah is his word, and they are witness against us. As long as heaven and earth still remains, they are witnessing against us. Psalms 89 verse 18. For Yahuwah is our shield, and the Kadosh one of Yashar is our king. Here, Melech David is telling us, makes it clear that Yahuwah the Father is our shield, and the Son, Yahushua the Kadosh one, is our Melech, our king. Now, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by Yahuwah, saw the vision of the Kodesh one, who is Yahushua HaMashiach, in the Shamaim. These are the words of the Barakat of Hanuk, wherewith he Baruch the elect, the remnant, and the righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, and all the wicked and the ones that know not Yahuwah and Yahushua are to be removed. Beloved, if you're not walking in Torah, if you're not obeying his commandments, you do not know Yahuwah or Yahushua. You are following the one that Satan has set up to be like the Most High. Many claim to be the remnant, the elect, but they're not according to the definitions. And they're not doing it to be puffed up. They're doing it because that's all they know. That's how they've been taught. They have been taught that the church is the bride, and they're just waiting on Jesus to come and rapture them because they're ready to go. Meanwhile, they have not prepared. They have not made themselves ready. They need to come out of her and come to the marvelous light. Are we getting closer to know His will? I believe we are. The Kadesh one of Yashar, which is Messiah, He is the seed of Abraham. And in Him, and if we are in Messiah, we are of His seed. King David knew this. In Psalms 89 verse 29 through 32, he explains this to us. He says, I, YAHUAH, will establish His seed, which is Messiah, forever, and His throne as the days of the Shamaim, the Ancient of Days. If His children, which is us, me and you, those that are in Messiah, forsake my Torah and do not walk according to my judgments, my mishpatim, if they violate my statutes, my hukots, and do not keep my commandments, the mishmarots, the charge, the commandments required of a king, then I will punish their transgression with the rod of their iniquity and with stripes. The word stripes means plague. The pale horse which is arriving at this moment. This is the dark winter, and it will accumulate to its crescendo during the peak of Spars 2025. Now we're going to learn about sanctification, to be made Kodesh by our high priest. John chapter 17 verse 22 to 23. And I have given them the splendor which you have given me, that they may be a cod, may be one, as we are a cod, we are united as one. I and them, you and me, that they may be perfected in one accord, in one mindset, in accordance to the image of Messiah of the Melchizedek order. Perfect comes from G5048. It means to complete, to fulfill. And Messiah fulfilled the Torah. The Hebrew word for fulfill is lakayem, meaning He magnified, He established, He gave us the correct interpretation. He accomplished it. He finished it. He made it perfect. And those who imitate Messiah and fulfill the Torah like He fulfilled it, He will make them perfect, and they will be the great in the kingdom. Sanctification, the act of making. This is a verb. This is an action word, meaning act. You have to do works. It's in the Bible. It's in your scriptures. Works, you have to have them. But today they tell us that no, if you do works, you're nullifying the crucifixion when He was impaled to a tree, and that we're putting Him back up on the tree. No, beloved, when you sin against His Torah, you're treating His blood as common and putting Him back on the tree to be crucified for the second time. The work is to be set apart as Kadesh. This is beyond holy. Holy is a Catholic word. That's where they derive the word Hollywood. It comes from Holly. Holly is also a god in India, which they do once a year. They have a big festival for him. We do not use that word. I'm only using it for reference purposes only. The act of consecrating or setting apart for a sacred purpose. And that is a priest. That is what He is elevating us today. That's why He wants us to be set apart, because He wants to set us as royal priests. And the reason for that is because there's 4 allotted of inheritance in the millennial kingdom that's coming, that He will set up. Who does the work of the sanctification? We do, with Messiah and us. And Messiah is the righteousness of the Father. Who sets us apart as Kadesh in the Ruach HaKodesh? Yahushua, our Kohen HaGadol of the Melchizedek order. Yahuwah's advice to all of us. This is about mastering sin. Sin is crouching at the door, and you are His desire. But you must rule over it. This was Yahuwah's advice to Cain. In Genesis 4:7, He says, if you do well, if you walk in the light, and in Yah's ahavah, in His love, will you not be accepted into the kingdom? Yes, you will. And if you do not do well, that means if you walk in the flesh, sin is crouching at the door. You are its desire. Its desire is towards you, but you must rule over it. Sin, which is the transgression of the law, this definition was already known back then, because YAHUAH changes not. In Psalms 89 verse 34, YAHUAH tells us, I shall not profane, I shall not violate, I shall not break my covenant, neither would I change what has gone out from my lips. We are to fight the good fight with emunah, faith, belief, and trust. In Psalms 119 verse 1, it says, Baruch are the undefiled, the blameless in the way, who walk in the Torah of YAHUAH. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. And that's why they will not hear Yahushua tell them, depart from me, you worker of lawlessness, you worker without Torah works. And as you can see, we have an Aleph right here, and Messiah is the way. And we follow the way of Yahushua that he established from the beginning. We all have a charge against us to put us in check. Why? To see, to test us if we are within his borders or not. How is your record? Meaning, how is your testimony to the covenant right now? Is it of light or is it of darkness? We can't be mediocre. We can't be lukewarm. You're either light or dark. You're either white or black. Not anything in between. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 13 and 14 tells us, I charge you in the presence of YAHUAH, who gives life to all things, and of Hamashiach Yahushua, who in his testimony before Pontius Pilate made a good confession. I charge you to be shomer, to guard over the mitzvot, the commandments of Yahushua, without a spot, blameless, and without reproach, without being defiant, until the appearing of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach. In Psalms 19 verse 8, it confirms this further. The precepts of YAHUAH are straight. They're Yashar, rejoicing in the heart. And the commandment of YAHUAH is clear, enlightening your eyes with light. So it is clear, it is clarity here that we are to keep the commandments of Yahushua. And the commandments of Yahushua are the Father's Torah. And when we walk with pure inclinations of our heart, obeying them as a little child, we're walking in the light. Meaning that we strive to walk with Messiah in us, directing our ways, paths, and directions. Yirmiyahu 31 verse 31, it says, Behold, the days come, says YAHUAH, that I will cut a renewed covenant with the house of Yashar. This is Ephraim, and with the house of Yehudah. Meaning they would be one house, the two sticks made one in his hand, as the one new man in Yahushua HaMashiach. Messiah initiated this at his first coming and is bringing it to fruition and to be fulfilled within the next 10 years from now, because we're coming into 2030. Now note, this is very, very, very important, that this new covenant, badly translated as the New Testament, is not for the Christian religion or its offshoot denominations, nor for Judaism and her offshoots. This was not a covenant made with Christians or Jews who do not have Messiah in them. This is only made for those who have made a confession of belief and applied the blood of Yahushua on them. We are considered the house of Israel, as well as anyone in the world who makes a covenant with him. This covenant is open to all. But I want to make this clear. All the branches, all the tribes were cut off. So with that being said, no one is above someone else. No color, no religion is above anyone else. We start at the same level, at ground zero. Our righteousness is filthy rags at the very, very start. With that being said, Yahushua is the one that cleans us and makes us Kadesh and sets us apart for a specific purpose. So we all have to be grafted in. All of us. Every race, every color. I want you to be perfectly aware of that. There's no respect of person in Yahushua. And now we come to the messenger of the covenant. The messenger of the covenant is found in Malachi 3 verse 1. Behold, I will send my messenger. And this messenger is Yahuchanan, the immerser of the Tevilah. And he shall prepare the way before me. And the master whom you seek shall suddenly come in his hekal, his temple. And the messenger of the covenant, Yahushua HaMashiach, whom you delight in, behold, he is coming, says Yahuwah Sabaoth. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire. Today, beloved, right now, if you're listening to this message, we are in the restoration of all things in the spirit and power of Eliyahu, the same spirit and power that John the immerser operated in. This is the power of the Ruach that's witnessing to you to be set apart as Kadesh, to come into his covenant and forsake all religion and man's traditions. The only ones who will be able to stand are the Kohanim, the bride of Yahushua. Messiah Yahushua is the messenger of the marriage covenant. And the terms and conditions to the bride have not changed. And the bride remains to be Israel, Yashar. The difference is now that we can all receive the Ruach of truth to guard the terms and conditions, which to many is still a mystery. And it will remain a mystery until Yahuwah opens their eyes. Ephesians 1 verse 8 and 9. Yahushua lavished upon us in all Chokmah and understanding to apply his truth, his word, his Torah, having made revelation to us the mystery of his will, his good pleasure, according to the counsel, the plan of Yah, which Yahuwah set forth in HaMashiach. Remember, his goodness, his good pleasure is when he was on Mount Sinai and he showed his back part to Moshe when he was revealing the 10 Commandments. Verse 10, and he did this for an administration of the household of Yahuwah, a plan for the fullness of time, gathering up all things in HaMashiach, both the things in Shamoim and the things on earth. In him, in HaMashiach, we have obtained our allotted inheritance, which we will deal in the next chapter. Hebrews chapter 5, 8 through 10. Although Yahushua was a good son, he learned obedience through the fear and suffering which he endured. And having been perfected, having been made complete, he was Tamin and Yashar. He became the source of the author of eternal salvation to all the ones obeying him who walk in his image, having been designated by Yahuwah as Kohen HaGadol, the high priest after the order of MalkiTzedek. In conclusion, we're going to look at the word Shalom. Shalom, usually translated as peace, but more literally means to be made whole and complete. It is derived from the root word to be whole. That's why Yahushua said, be whole and sin no more. The next time you say the word shalom to one another, remember, you're not just asking that there's any strife or chaos in that person's life. You are asking that person to see if they have everything that they need to be whole and complete with Messiah and us to go in the way that we should walk. In the Paleo Hebrew, shalom is spelled in this way. And it means to destroy the authority attached to chaos. Today, if you're needing prayer, healing, strength, and you're having demonic warfare, spiritual attacks, I ask Yahuwah in Yahushua's name, because you have opened the door so that you repent and sin no more. I ask you, Yahushua, to make us complete and whole, set apart as Kadesh. I ask that Yahushua make you Tamin and Yashar in all your ways, conduct, and thought. And beloved, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Shalom.